Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. We're back with another tumbler tutorial and we're going to make a set of Bestie tumblers using no glitter, believe it or not. We're going to use all Teckwrap craft vinyl, and so of course I will let you know all the products we're using today and link them down in the description box, as well as any discount codes to save yourself some money on more craft supplies, of course. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's tutorial. Okay, so of course we're going to get started by showing you guys this beautiful vinyl from Teckwrap Craft. And so they sent me this beautiful promo box. This is their colorful shimmer vinyl. So in a couple previous tutorials, I showed you guys their pearl vinyl, which is a little bit different. It definitely has more of a psychedelic look in the pearl vinyl, and this one has a full-on glitter look to this vinyl. So you can get that completely gorgeous glitter look without having to use any glitter whatsoever on your cups. So I got 7 of these rolls of vinyl, and we're going to use quite a few of those today in today's tutorial. So we are going to be making a set of Bestie tumblers, and this is actually my first ever set of Bestie tumblers I've ever made, and I'm just so excited to be making these. They turned out so cute. So of course we're going to start with the prep process here, and I have started with a 30-ounce screw top tumbler from Hog Tumblers, and I'm going to go ahead and prep this tumbler. So we're just going to sand the surface. We are going to cover this entire tumbler in epoxy, so I'm going to make sure I'm sanding top to bottom here, making sure I'm scuffing up that surface. We're going to go ahead and wipe this down with some 91% rubbing alcohol and get our vinyl applied. So I've gone ahead and just cut a section of each of those 2 vinyls, the mint and the hot pink vinyl, and I've just cut them to guarantee I'll have a bit of overlap on the other side where they meet, and we're going to get these applied to the cup here. So I'm going to apply this just like I would any normal, vinyl wrap here. What I will say is my first initial reaction for using this vinyl was I was a little bit worrisome because this vinyl is a bit thick. It reminded me a little bit of the thickness of like an HTV. And so I did get a little bit worried here that I wouldn't be able to wrap this as smoothly and as seamlessly as I can with, of course, printed vinyl and patterned vinyl and things of that nature, but I was able to get it wrapped pretty nicely. It almost has like a matte finish on top. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's very like almost rubbery feeling on the top layer. So I was worried that that was going to give me a little bit of hiccup here with trying to use my squeegee tool. Turns out if I just would have switched to like the harder side, it actually goes on so much smoother instead of struggling with the felt side, because that does not like to glide across that rubbery style surface there. So when I did the pink one, which I ended up doing off camera, it was much easier to use the, flat side of the squeegee tool to get this completely wrapped. So back to what we're doing here. Of course, we're wrapping this completely in the vinyl. And after I've gotten this all the way around the cup, of course, I've given myself just a little bit of wiggle room, of course, which we will end up cutting away with a craft knife. Same process as I always do. I like to use either my nail or the edge of my squeegee tool to just really detail that line and push that vinyl into the crack where the seam is, so that it's easier for me to find that line and cut as straight of a crooked line as I can, because we all know I can't cut a straight line to save my life. So it's the straightest crooked line you have ever seen. So we're going to go ahead and get that seam, that extra overlap removed, leaving just a slight overlap over that section there. Of course, this is all going to get covered up with vinyl, so you're not even going to see where the seam is, but of course I want to cut away that extra vinyl. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of real carefully cut around the bottom edge here with my craft knife here. You could use tape, of course, to cut a super straight line. I just went back in later and used the tape line to cut an actual straight line on the bottom, but I'm not going to show you that here because you guys have seen me do that in other tutorials. With the top here, I ended up grabbing a brand new craft knife because I wanted to make sure that I cut this really smoothly on the top, and so I was worried that my blade was a little bit dull, so just grabbing a fresh blade to really ensure that I could cut through this thicker vinyl and not give myself any of that like serrated, chopped up look on the top. So this is what it looks like in the pink. These are both going to go on the turner for epoxy, of course. That way we can begin to layer our vinyl over top. But before I do so, I'm gonna end up just spray painting the bottom of these 2 cups white, just to kind of go with the overall aesthetic. You could leave them plain, you don't have to, but I decided to go ahead and paint them white. Okay, so we're gonna get started and get into Cricut Design Space and cut all of our elements for our Bestie tumblers. So I have started by importing my zebra print that I have already uploaded. I've had this file for quite a while, so I've already uploaded this. I have measured my cup, and my cup after the couple coats of epoxy is 10.25 inches around by 9 inches tall. So I have duplicated the zebra print file and decided which color. So we're going to do kind of a reverse look on both cups. Next, I want to get the Bestie or Best Friend decals. So I searched in here in Cricut and I didn't really find anything that I love. So I did end up going over to Creative Fabrica, of course, and looking at some of the ones that I kind of liked. So I found this one, and I think that this is going to be something I'm going to put on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and download this cute little Bestie heart here and upload it into Cricut. So we'll go ahead and download that while I show you the other one. And then I thought this was so adorable. So this one says, she's my bestie, she's my bestie. So it's a cute, like little heart, like broken heart look that you could put across both cups. I absolutely love that look for a set of Bestie cups. So we're also going to download this, and this is going to be our front image. So I'm going to go ahead and get both of these downloaded. I'm going to open my files, and I'm going to go with the SVG for all of these. I have to determine which one is which. That's not the one I want. Is it this one? I think it's this one. Okay, so this one, I'm just going to go ahead and drag into my document so it'll be easier to find later. Let's close this out. And then we'll go to the other one. And then this one, we're going to grab the SVG. Let me just make sure that's right. Ooh, I don't like the colored version. Thought it was going to show up in black and white. Hold on. So then this is what I'm going to do. I am going to grab the SVG and drag it over, because that means I should be able to change the colors. We'll drag that to documents, let that upload. Let's go back to Cricut. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and upload these 2 images. So we'll download the Bestie, which is going to go on the bottom. Okay, and for this, because this is going to go on the bottom, this is going to be 2 inches big. The bottom, I'm going to do 2.1. The bottom of the cup, the inner circle, which I'm going to put a round colored circle in to fill the bottom, that is about 2.5 inches on that inner circle. So I want to make sure that this is slightly smaller. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this before I change the colors. Okay, perfect. And this we're actually just going to, I think I want to make them white. I thought maybe I would do, oh no, I lied. I lied. Hold that thought. We're actually going to do purple. Perfect. Okay, so the bottom is done. Let's go ahead and upload the other piece. And then we're going to have to change the colors. I wanted it to be kind of all the same color with a solid background. So we're going to go ahead and change the colors of this. And hopefully this allows us to do that. If not, we might be going to part 2 or plan B. All right. Let me make this smaller so I can actually see it on the screen. All right, so we have our image. Okay, perfect. So I can change all of the colors. Exactly what I wanted. Okay, so let's see what is what. So I want the background, like the actual heart, to be purple. So I'd like the heart itself to be purple. Perfect. I am going to change the wording to be white. I'm also going to change the heart to white because I want to be able to cut that all in the same layer. And so we're going to go ahead and hold these two pieces together because I want to combine them since they're the same color. So we're going to weld those together. Okay. I'm going to change the color of the arrow that's on the outside. That is going to go ahead and be purple as, nah, let's change it to white. We'll make it white. We'll make it stand out a little bit. And then we'll go to the other side. Well, before I do that, let's weld the wording with the outside lettering. So the wording we want to change to white. Same thing over here. We're going to also change the heart to white. Oops. So I'm going to weld these two. So combine, weld, perfect. We're then going to change the color up. I went off the beaten path there. We're going to change this to purple to match. We're also going to change this to the purple, the same purple. Oop, I meant to change that to white. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, perfect. So now I have all of my pieces ready to go. I'm going to select the whole thing and we're going to size this down. So I want this to be about 2 inches on each of them. 2.5 inches on each of them. So we're going to change the entire width of the image to 5. That way it'll be 2.5 on one half and 2.5 on the other half. And I didn't select all of them. Okay, hold that thought. Oh, because these separated. I see what happened. I see what happened. So I want to weld these two together. Weld. Then I want to take this and weld. All right, much better. So now I'm going to take this and this, all of it, and we're going to change it to 5. Perfect. Okay, so now it's all one piece with the background being purple, the wording being white. So cute. And so that is all we're going to, oh, we have to do one more thing. I lied. Just kidding. Okay, one more thing. We're going to do a bottom circle. So like I said, the bottom is white, like the bottom portion is white. I'm going to do a 2.5 inch circle to cover the entire bottom inner circle. And we're going to change this color. One will be that pink color. We'll duplicate it. And then this will be the teal color. Okay, now we are officially done, because then this will sit on top of this. And the same will happen to this here. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get these items cut. So I am going to be using all of the beautiful Teckwrap craft vinyl from this video. So I am going to increase the pressure on the cut settings for this. I think what I'm going to end up doing is cutting it to be on the textured vinyl setting and I'm going to do more pressure to ensure that I can allow this to cut through that vinyl. It's a little bit thicker than some traditional vinyls that I have had from Teckwrap. So I'm going to treat it as I would any of my textured vinyl, so I don't have to cut it more than once. So stay tuned and I'll show you how we put this all together on the cup. Okay, y'all, so I struggled with this vinyl and I struggled so that you don't have to. So I did try the textured settings and I ended up doing more pressure. It still did not cut right. So I switched settings and then I ended up doing the faux leather paper thin setting in more pressure, and it worked perfectly. So I had two kind of, you know, bummers. They weren't really able to cut through. And then third time's the charm. So use the faux paper or the faux leather paper thin setting in your Cricut settings with more pressure, and that will cut through this vinyl. Now it is fully going to cut through the vinyl, like I mean all the way through. And I'm going to show you how I'm able to still get this applied like a wrap. But that was the best setting that I found that worked and was able to cut through the thicker vinyl of this. So we're going to go ahead and get our cups now that they're cured after 2 coats of epoxy, and we're just going to sand down those rims. We'll start with the bottom portion here. Those, of course, glittered circles that we cut out of Cricut. And we're just going to apply those directly to the bottom. This is where that cute little Bestie heart is going to go on each of these cups. So I'm just going to do the inner circle, just kind of apply that. Then we'll go ahead and we'll be able to apply the bottom circles as well, or the bottom besties as well. So I wanted to show you guys though real quick before we get to that is how I'm going to get this off of my off my mat here. So I'm just going to use the transfer tape that Teckwrap sent in the promo box, and I'm just going to size it to fit the image we have here on my mat. I'm going to apply the transfer tape directly to the mat, and then we're going to peel this off. Now, is this the most efficient way? Probably not. Honestly, I think that I could have just taken them off one by one and probably just hand placed them and probably would have done it quicker, but I thought that, you know, applying it as a wrap would have saved me a little bit more time, and it would have allowed me to get things on maybe a bit more straight. I don't know. You'll have to decide what you think is the better alternative, but I did end up committing to doing it this way for both cups. So after I took the, you know, zebra print off of the mat, I then had to take all the backing off of each section. So I just went through very carefully and just removed that white backing off of the back so that it would be easy for me to apply as a wrap onto the cups. Now, maybe applying it one by one, like, you know, stripe by stripe might have been easier. Because of how much work, of course, was needed to just get it off the mat and then get the backing removed as well. But remember, this is a thicker vinyl, so you're definitely going to have to kind of work with this a little bit. It's definitely thicker than some of the other Teckwrap craft vinyls that I've used, so definitely just be mindful of that. I definitely wasted a bit of vinyl, but I'm glad I was able to find a cut setting that worked the best. That way you guys don't have to struggle with this when and if you decide to grab this vinyl up. I think it's gorgeous, and it's a great way to have that glittered look without having to glitter. And I think it really comes out really cute. So I was able to apply those zebra stripes just like a full vinyl wrap there. And then with this last stripe, which was just a little bit over the section, I just kind of hand placed that last one there. So we're just going to hand place that last section onto the cup, and then we'll switch over to doing the exact same thing with the other cup. So going back real quick to apply that bottom heart Bestie. So I ended up cutting the white wording, which originally was purple in Cricut Design Space, because I was struggling with what the cut settings were going to be. I was worried that even with the faux leather settings, that cutting such intricate words would be difficult, because I'd really have to do a lot of hand placing, and I'm just not for that. So I decided to actually use Teckwrap Crafts pearl vinyl, which I used a few tutorials ago in the white color that they sent me, because it really does go really well. It has a bit of a shimmer, not as much glitter as their colorful shimmer vinyl, which we're using today, but it still's got a bit of that kind of sparkle to it as well. So here I am going ahead and doing the exact same process with the other cup. So this is kind of like a reverse look on both cups, which I think is so cute for like a matching cup set. It doesn't have to be a set of Bestie cups like I'm making. I think this would be cute for siblings or sisters, cute, of course, for best friends. You could even do like, you know, a whole set of these as like bestie cups too. Like, I think that there's just so many different ways to do these kind of cute styles with kind of like this similarity but not exact same look. So we're going to finish off the bottom of this cup. Same process here. We're going to add that circle, and then we'll go ahead and add that bestie heart right to the bottom of this. And then these cups will need to go on the turner for another coat of epoxy, simply because we have this thicker vinyl on top, and we still have to put that she's my bestie heart and arrow on top of this. And so I don't want the vinyl to show through the vinyl that's under it, if that makes sense. So I don't want any creases in this vinyl, so we're going to solve that by doing a coat of epoxy. And while we're waiting for that to cure, we're going to go ahead and get to work on our lids here. So I'm going to take the 30-ounce lids, I'm going to sand them, prep them like I normally would. So we're going to sand the surface. I'll clean them off with some rubbing alcohol, and I'm going to tape off the threads before I spray paint them. So you could use chalk paint too. You don't have to use spray paint. It was just quicker for me to spray paint them. I felt like it would dry a little bit quicker, and I could work on some other things while these were drying. So I'm going to use some painter's tape just to tape off the threads so I don't end up with any spray paint or overspray on that section of the cup. So I'll just use that to cover both sides, and then these can go to my spray tent, of course, to get them painted. We're going to keep these lids pretty simple. I liked the simplicity of the cup, and I didn't want to add anything too crazy to the lids, but I wanted them to match and go, of course, with the aesthetic. So we're going to keep this pretty simple and kind of just recreate what we did on the bottom of the cup with the top lids as well. So now that these cups are off the turner, once again, we're going to add just a white vinyl strip onto the bottom, and that's just going to really help separate the bottom portion of the cup from the rest of the cup. I always do this with these kinds of cups, or with this kinds of styles, where like the bottom is a different color than the rest of the cup, simply because I feel like having that vinyl there does just allow there to be a little bit of a separation between like the bottom solid color versus the rest of the cup. And without it, you can kind of sometimes see those little bits of imperfections along that line. So covering it up with a little bit of vinyl will just kind of help cover up any imperfections or any maybe miscut lines where the vinyl went over, etc., all that good stuff. So I did end up having to go back to Cricut Design Space and recutting the broken heart shape, because I had not realized when I was in Cricut the first time that the wording was not only layered on top, but it was directly cut into the heart as well. So as you can imagine, because this is a thicker vinyl, it was going to be near impossible for me to get all those little pieces, the backside of it, completely weeded. And so I just decided to go back into Cricut and recut this and contour out all of the wording on the solid background of the heart. Unfortunately, because though I didn't save my project, you should always save your projects, and here's why. The hearts were smaller than they should have been, so the wording should have actually fit really nicely into the hearts, but I didn't save my project, so I didn't have the exact sizing, and tried to go back and recreate it, and it ended up being smaller than it was supposed to. But even though there was a little bit of mistake, I do still think that they came out super cute. I think it looks kind of purposeful, honestly, with the She's My Bestie like directly over top of it. So you guys be the judge. Let me know what you think in the comments. The last thing I'm going to do here, though, is I'm going to outline all of the zebra print in interchanging purple and white Posca paint pens. I could have gone in and did like an offset, but for me, that's just way too much work to get all of these little sections to offset appropriately and fit perfectly. I'm just going to get away with adding the white and purple outlines and making it look like I did an offset without having to struggle with all that vinyl work. So there's a little cheat and a little hack for you. So this is what they look like, of course, as the kind of final look before they go on the turner for their final coats of epoxy. So we're going to go ahead and get those on the turner, get those ready to go. But before we add our final coats, we're going to go back to our lids and get our lids set up so we can add final coats to the lids simultaneously as we're adding them to our cups. So I did cut an additional circle when I went back to cut the hearts to fit the inner circle of the lids here. So I believe that I sized the lid portion to be about 2.15 inches. It was just shy of 2.25 inches, and I didn't want it to go over because I knew it would look funny, so I just made it slightly smaller and then did my best to center those circles on the top. Then we'll just cut out that center hole, of course, so that we can fit our straw through it. And I really take my time with this because these lids sometimes can be a hassle around the straw. So I really want to make sure I'm trimming everything and then going in with my little squeegee to push that vinyl down around the straw hole. So these are ready to go. I'm going to attach them both to my turners here. I like to just use my foam holders to kind of shove in the lid and then tape the threads to the actual foam. And then I go around with another piece of painter's tape up around the top portion of the threads. That way I don't get any epoxy on the threads and have to do a lot of cleanup process later. So we're going to go ahead and epoxy these. So I am using Flint Sister Supply Shop Artist Cure, and I did use that for the 2 final coats of the cup as well. We're going to add a nice layer to the tops of these, and then we'll torch them really quickly, very lightly. And then of course I will remove that tape automatically off of where that top portion is to ensure that we don't get this tape stuck to our lids for forever. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the tape immediately, and then this is the final look. So these came out absolutely adorable. I cannot wait to get these listed on my on my website. I feel like they're going to be a super popular kind of look. So if you're looking for a set of Bestie cups, definitely recreate this. I would love to see you guys' recreations. Of course, that's it for me. If you like this video, give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys again in the next one. Bye!